Okay, there are three things that I rarely see salespeople doing anymore, if at all. And this is why I said in a recent video that I'm seeing a lot of salespeople that are soft. So let me explain. First, prospecting. Gone are the days of avidly researching prospective business or a target stakeholder. Gone is all the relentless cold outreach and the follow-up, the face-to-face networking over coffee, and all the other means of connecting with potential buyers. Today, many sales reps expect leads to come to them via marketing or SDRs or BDRs. Other means, this is nuts. How does a salesperson not know how to prospect? Or how are they allowed to think that it's not a crucial part of their job? Sales is a numbers game. So in addition to having more at-bats to close deals and win pipeline, it's also a continuous improvement game. And that means the more prospecting you do, the faster you get better at understanding what role or title is likely to be the first champion inside of an organization, or understanding what hooks their attention to begin with, or becoming masterful at the most succinct and impactful articulation of your value. So look, there are all sorts of rationalizations for BDRs and SDRs and an outsourced lead gen company. And there is a place for that, but only in a handful of circumstances. So if you're a quota carrying rep, always be prospecting. The second discipline I rarely see, deal qualification. I don't care whether it's BANT or MEDIC or MedPick or SPIN, each of which has different uses for different buy dynamics. But regardless, I rarely see reps using a process that leads them down a structured path to increase the likelihood that the deal is going to close. Most reps are taking some very poor signals as signs that the client is going to buy and will do so within a certain time frame. But I can track the vast majority of lost deals and bad forecasting to poor sales process. So I'll sit within some of my clients' weekly pipeline calls and I'll hear sellers say something like this. They'll say, I talked to Steve on Tuesday. It was a great meeting and we're making great progress there. Like, what does that mean? Does Steve own the budget? Is he a gatekeeper? Is he your champion? And by great meeting, do you mean they were clear on all the decision criteria, the things that they need to see to buy, and that you confirmed that you meet every last one of them? Did they say that we boxed out the competition? If Steve isn't the budget owner and none of that happened, what made it a great meeting? How are we making great progress? Or you might hear something like, we've gone through the presentation stage, the demo, the technical approval, we've sent the proposal. So we're in the final stage and we move fast through all the other stages and we can expect this to close this quarter. But then nothing happens. Why? Because you never asked if the prospect had budget allocated. And guess what? They don't, and they still need to gain buy-in or sign off. And you never asked, much less confirmed, when they want to commit to launching buy. And lastly, you didn't realize that they have a very rigorous vendor approval process that generally takes a quarter, contracting takes 6 weeks, and they don't want to sign the contract until they can jump into technical implementation and launch, but their engineering team has a full queue for at least 4 months. You have this, or this sales rep has this at a 75% chance of closing this quarter, which ends in 4 weeks. There is a 0% chance that this is closing in 4 weeks, much less 3 months. So guess what? You might not get it because time kills all deals. The longer it goes that a deal is in cycle, the more things that could happen to interrupt the buying process. Budgets get lost. You might not get it at all. Okay, so this happens across all of your deals. It's no wonder that most sales forecasting stinks in most organizations. And so much of this gets solved by deal qualification, and your reps aren't doing it. That's the second thing. Third, the last thing I almost never see sales reps doing is turning a no into a yes. When I was a CRO, I passed on hiring the best salesperson I've ever met. Then I hired them, not once, but in 2 different organizations. How? When I passed on him, he turned my no into a yes. I gave him a very solid reason why we were moving forward with another candidate. He challenged me in such a powerful and respectful way, proposing a no-risk approach to continuing the conversation. And ultimately, I hired him. And he made me so much money. He made the organization so much money. So here's the deal. You're not actually selling until you get to your first no. Before that, everything you're doing is just learning and teaching. You're asking questions, and then you're telling them what they want to hear. But you're not selling until what appears to be a roadblock comes up. This doesn't have to be a no in terms of you lost the deal. This could be a no when you ask a lower level champion to facilitate a meeting with the C-suite budget owner, and they won't do it. Or you might ask the prospect if they share what their budget is, and they're not comfortable doing so. That's a no to getting a really critical piece of information. There are any number of no's that you have to turn into yeses. And this is one of the primary skills of great salespeople that sales reps just aren't doing anymore. So let's look at this. You're paying a salesperson a ton of money, and there's no prospecting to break into new organizations and drive pipeline. They have no deal qualification process to navigate the sales process effectively and predictably, and they're not getting past all of the no's that are inevitable in every deal. Like, what part of this is sales? We have to fix these things, among many other things, with the current generation of quota carrying reps. And I'm sorry if this sounds like really top love, but we can and should fix this. So let's do it together. Give me a shout.